Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on February 12th, 2025. We've got two people here, the famous Sasha Tasanovic, all the way from Serbia. And although she recruits in the United States, okay, why don't you guys tell me to put my glasses on? My glasses. Okay, so she recruits in the States. We got a new guy here, Paul Ruiz. Is that how to say your name, Paul?
Yes, Raul Ruiz.
Oh, Paul, I was looking at, I was reading the R as a P. Candy, here's an odd one. Candidate spells his name in lowercase letters. Would this be a problem for you? If you ask him, this is what he says. I took this from real life. He spells his name in lowercase letters because he doesn't give more importance to himself than his surroundings, including animals, bodies of water, and trees. He considers himself to be a very spiritual person. If you send his resume in to your client, okay, and it's all in small letters, and the hiring manager or the HR manager says, what is this? And you tell them what I just said, what do you think the response is going to be? Sasha, you first. Do you understand what I
go there? I was quite honestly, when I saw the posting, I thought that you were joking, but I really cannot believe that somebody would identify themselves.
Believe me. Okay, so you would just, what would you say? But you couldn't ignore it. If I said, Sasha, what is this? Or would you change his resume so that it looked normal?
Well, I would try to talk with candidate to, get him to have him understand.
How dare you assault my spirituality, Sasha? Shame on you. Okay.
Dad, we're not matched. We do not match.
Oh, okay. He might be matched. That's the thing. His credentials and his experience might be good. Over to the new guy, Raul. What's the story? Did you understand the question?
I agree with Sasha. I would go ahead and go back to the candidate and be like, candidate, you need to go ahead and make these corrections. That's just not something that's looked at in this environment. You need to go ahead and make the corrections. If not, this is not the role for you.
Yep.
Well, what corrections, Raul? I like to put my name in small lowercase letters because I'm a humble guy. Okay, don't tell me about what my place in the universe should be. I can't say it myself. Okay,
I can tell you this job is not the place for you. That's pretty much it.
How do you know? Okay, let's ask Tommy, okay?
Well, those are not rules that we are setting. Those are like grammar rules, and we want to make sure that we are following what is being used for the last 500 years.
Okay. Oh, you were the last person. I am the last person to ask about grammar.
You'll understand this. The candidate wants to spell his name. He always spells his name in only lowercase letters because he's humble. He doesn't want to express his superiority over the trees and animals and environment, and that's how he spells his name. Okay, what would you do? Would you tell him, listen, Joey?
The candidate, he's an idiot. I mean,
no. His credentials are good. Okay, his experience is good. You don't want to just toss him in the garbage.
I don't want to throw him in the garbage, but I'm not going to embarrass myself trying to explain away why the candidate thinks it's appropriate to put. I mean, Thomas will ask you and all. It just is weird. It's weird. I mean, if it's a crunchy granola company, I guess.
No, look, everybody, I'm Canadian. I'm not going to pressure that guy, okay? He's Canadian as well, okay? He's got
You're just going to keep apologizing
for it. He's got a senior job in the public sector. That's why
I look, if it's worked for him, great. I'm just going to have to overcome that with my employer. But if you think the employer's not going to be an issue,
actually, Sasha's not American. I'm sorry. The two Americans and the Serbian are against this poor spiritual fellow. Okay, answer.
It's just weird.
It's using common sense worldwide.
Issue number 2, okay? If you watch the Super Bowl, you suck. You guys must have seen I posted this. The guy said, you guys are spending your Sunday nights watching grown men fight over a ball. I'm making cold calls and catching up on my emails, okay? And then he went on and on about it. New guy, Raul. What do you say to that? You agree with him that he's a go-getter and the other people are slackers?
Hey, you do what you got to do. I mean, if you got to do it on the weekends, you got to do it, and that's what I've been doing as well. So I don't blame the guy. Do it. Get it
Okay,
done.
no. He's blaming you. If you know,
Yeah.
you're like him. He's blaming the rest of the world for wasting time on watching
If
sports.
you're hanging out with your wife on Sundays and playing with the kids, you're a loser. You should be on the phone. That's basically what he's saying. That someone's hobby is more important. So you could apply that to anything. If you're fishing on the weekends, you're a loser. I mean,
Yeah, I gotta say, I was watching the Super Bowl. I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl.
I didn't
because
watch
That's what I want to do. It's
I
what
don't
I
watch
want to do. You know, and you're welcome to do whatever you want to do, guy.
Yeah, that's it. You do what you want.
Yeah.
And for him to say if you're watching a bunch of men chase a ball, you could use that for any extracurricular activity that we do that is not making us money or business based, right? You can use that for anything. So his attitude of, I saw that tweet, his attitude of, if you're watching the Super Bowl, like, okay, well, what if I watch rugby? What if I play with my kids? What if I go to my daughter's horse show? What if I go to my son's lacrosse match? What if I take my wife out to dinner? Are all those bad too?
I think he would argue it's not the same thing, but I get your point. Sasha, what do you say?
I mean, I'm fine with the hustle and with the grind. However, don't go after other people. You know, there definitely should be a balance between personal life and your business life, and what others do during their free time is their matter. So, I mean, it's not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay, somebody asked the best contact finder, and Tom answered that. I think Tom said sales. You're still with the Sales QL gives you Tom said the best bang for your buck, right?
So Karsten Fox just did a new video. He's the guy that reviews all the contact finders, and he still puts Sales QL at the top. But he also has a new one that comes out, but it doesn't work with Sales Navigator, so I haven't tried it. And that's why I use Sales QL. I use Sales Navigator. But yeah, it still ranks up there. I mean, Zoom Info is ridiculously expensive. Seamless is a waste of money. Apollo, Signal Hire, they all are okay. But bang for the buck, Sales QL all the way around.
But you said Jobin is better, but too expensive. Right?
Much more expensive. Yeah. And he has never tested Jobin. I should probably reach out to him to do that, but it is significantly more expensive. And I had a conversation with them. They're trying to lower it.
Percentage wise, how much better is it?
Then Sales QL, 30%.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when I can't get something. So the other really good one, but it's a one at a time, is Vin Verified, right? So I pay $20 a quarter for it. And if you can't find someone's phone number with Vin Verified, then you're not going to find it, right?
Well, yeah,
It's big
Mario,
aggregate.
Mario like that one.
Yeah,
New
but
guy,
you only do one at a time. Only one at a time.
New guy, over to you. Contact finders. Do you use any? Raul. He's gone already?
Hey, he's on mute.
Okay, well, I could take yourself off mute. Okay, I can't do it for you. Okay,
Yeah,
I told him he doesn't have to talk. I told him he didn't have to talk. Okay,
I would
Sasha,
say that Sales QL. That Jobin is as good as Been Verified, but it does it at a bulk rate.
good. I love the hand motions people make.
Well, Italian.
Well,
I'm Italian. I talk with my hands.
No, you're not a big hand motion guy.
Right, Tommy? You have Italian origin, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to talk with his hands.
This guy's got a name Italian, but not much else seems to be.
You want to keep me quiet? Then you sit on my hands.
Yeah. Sasha, does your boss?
I'll pass on this one. I'm gathering knowledge. I'm gathering resources. So yeah,
Okay, you're not paying.
I just typed in Google Jobin.cloud is what popped up. It says streamline your sourcing and outreach.
They are not a contact finder. They have a contact finder component. Their contact finder component is very expensive.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, I've asked this kind of question before. This is how Elon Musk was described in the in the newspaper. Usually when I ask it, I don't reveal who it really is. Okay. This is the boss. Okay. You've got a client. This is how your boss is described in public. Okay. The CEO is eager to cut staff who fail to meet his high expectations. He drives workers at a breakneck pace, and he's quick to broadcast internal company disputes on public forums. So if you got a Slack, and there's other guys like this too, he'll criticize you in public. Essentially, that's what he's saying. This guy's a bit curious, though. He obsesses over operational details. He gets these pet projects that he pursues single-mindedly, and he's considered to be quirky and aggressive. If you had a client and you had seen the head of that company described in these terms, would you take that job? Would you think you could fill that job? That's not what you usually say. You usually say, well, there's always somebody. Just tell them what it's like there, and they can decide.
I would make it a POJO job order, but there's also, I have a limit on most stuff, right? So if that's a limit to me. An employer who publicly degrades his employees, they can go fuck themselves.
I'm shocked because I always figure you and Rich will say, I'll take any order, but we'll just let the candidate.
We all have limits.
decide.
We have limits.
What's POJO mean?
Presentation on existing job order. It's a management recruiter's term. Basically, it's not a search assignment. It's a search you took and you told the client, hey, I might be able to find you somebody. I can't commit a lot of time to it. It's a hard job to fill. If we come across somebody, I'll let you know. And then you do a presentation on an existing job order.
If you make a statement like that, you are asking to be misinterpreted. And later on, that same person will say, yeah, he stinks. I gave him the job order and he never came in with anybody.
No, that means I didn't clarify. Usually it would be,
They hear what they want to hear.
We can't pay a retainer.
You can't pay a retainer.
Well, if you can't pay a retainer, I can't make this a priority.
Oh, okay. Retainer. Okay. So if
Right?
if they paid you $5,000, you would take this job.
No. Absolutely not, because it's a shitty company. There, like I said, there's a point. Like, I'm not going to work for a company that is, owned by the KKK, right? I'm not going to work for a company that is a bunch of Holocaust deniers. I'm not going to work for a company that
This
supports
guy runs
killing
Tesla.
Gaza. Right?
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
If the company is that mean to their employees, I don't want to be associated with them. There's a point. Like, there are bad bosses. There are decent bosses, there are good bosses, and then there are fucking asshole bosses that I won't work with. I mean, I have a limit.
Okay.
Call it integrity. Call it
New
women's
guy?
intuition. I don't know.
New guy, are you interested? You
Hey,
wanna
I'm
come
back. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Did you
yeah.
hear the description of the boss of the company? Did you get
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with Tommy. It's not a client or a customer that I would want to represent.
Oh, really? Okay. These guys are. I wonder in practice if they would do what they're promising here. Sasha, what about you? I know you're not bringing in your own clients yet at this point, but what about if you were and you knew that the boss, the CEO, was described like this, worked them hard, degraded them in
no
public?
for me. And something that I realized lately, it's very important for me, is the company's culture. And company's culture comes from the very top. So if CEO sets that type of tone, it's a no-go.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, Tom and I actually disagreed. I think he misread me on Facebook about this. What if your candidate, it's a managerial job, you got a candidate, she's good, but they ask her, what's your greatest weakness? She says, I don't like extroverts, okay? And she says, she gives an
You
example.
misunderstood me.
That's weakness. I don't like extroverts.
Yeah, she says, I have a number of reports, direct reports, and one of them, she's an extrovert. She needs a lot of interaction. I don't enjoy it, okay? You want to talk, Sasha? What do you think? What would they say if do you think that's a killer? What's my greatest weakness? She's honest. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not so bad. I don't like.
Okay, but what type of role is in question?
She's a manager. It's a manager's role.
Manager role. Wow.
Okay, look, I got friends who call me up and they want to talk to me for an hour on the phone. I can't take it. Okay.
So
Fine, but
I
when
was
you're
messing
in
with
a
you.
managerial position, you definitely need to have those types of skills. You need to
Yeah,
interact
you don't
with
have to
people.
you don't have to be an extra to tolerate an extrovert blabber who wants to pepper up and stuff like that. Tom,
Well,
are you?
then I believe maybe she's in the right bus, but in the wrong seat. Definitely. When I mean,
No,
when you're a
she's in the
manager,
right.
you're
I don't think
definitely.
there's a problem with a manager who doesn't want to blab all the time, and one of their staff does. Okay.
Well, you don't have to necessarily blab, but you should exchange some of the word. I mean, some of the chit chat with your
People come
team.
in the morning, they want to talk about what they watched on TV last night. You don't have to do that, okay? That doesn't
Well,
make you
that's
a
all
manager.
communication skills. You know, you can let people talk for like 5-10 minutes, and that's fine.
Okay,
As long as you're gathering report. Maybe someone
Tom
doesn't
wants to
have
get
that
something
abundance
out here.
of
He had the
people.
nerve to disagree with something really obvious. What is it?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I was messing with you because when people always bring up that what's your greatest weakness, I always say I'm too honest. And then the thing is, there's no such thing. I don't believe that's a weakness. And I say I don't give a fuck what you think. But the extrovert thing, I think that's a tough one to tell your employer. I don't deal well with extroverts. Like, that's a tough one there. And again, it's depending on the role. If this person's sitting in a cubicle somewhere and they got to put their head down and you want them to program all day long and they don't do well with extroverts, no problem.
That's fine,
But if
yeah.
this is the sales manager or a salesperson or someone who deals with people in the public and they tell you they don't do well with extroverts, that's a problem. So a lot of your questions, Animal, I need more information.
What if she? Now let's go to the new guy first. We'll give him a chance before I take a crush. Before I crush Tommy, okay? Raul, do you have a comment on that? Let's say you're talking to her before you present her to the company, and she'll tell you that you say, is there anything else I should know about you that I didn't ask questions about? She'll say, look, I manage people, but I'm just not crazy about extroverts. If they want to know, I'll tell them.
Yeah, that's not somebody I want to go ahead and place in a company that they're not requiring you to have that type of skill set. If you're not going to be successful in that role by doing what needs to be done for that role, then you're not supposed to be in that role.
Are you saying that every manager has to be taller, like chatting as much as an extrovert? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not submitting.
No.
I'm not submitting. Not that fact. Just it probably wouldn't be a good fit for that role.
For what role?
I need to know what the role is. I need to know
if
what
it's
the
a
role
manager
is.
role, I mean, more than likely, you're going to have direct reports under you. So you're going to have those conversations with individuals.
Talk business with them. You got to talk business. You don't have to talk about everything like these chatterboxes want to. That's what she means.
That's not an extrovert.
What's an extrovert?
People are spending more time at work versus at their home. And the work environment needs to be pleasant, right? They need to feel like they can give their best. If chit-chatting with their manager for 5 to 10 minutes about some off-topic, non-business related subject, I mean, that's fine. You should deal with that. You're a manager. You're managing people.
Everybody's against me today.
Well, and the thing was, like I said, if it's a developer, if it's a manager of 7 back-end developers who are all nerdy guys with the glasses, that person that doesn't need to have extroverts. Fine, you don't like extroverts, fine. Nobody, we don't have any extroverts here. You don't have to deal with any extroverts, fine. But if it's a sales manager or your outside sales team and your customer service team, and she doesn't like dealing with extroverts, why are you even in this industry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, you always bring these questions without enough information.
No, I don't. You just don't want to answer a clear answer. But Paul, Raul, I keep going to call him Paul. Raul has a question about the market, but nobody here is in his market, but I'll let you ask Tommy. He usually has something to say about everything. Go ahead, Raul.
I mean, you guys know what's happening in the marketplace right now. There's so many layoffs.
Nobody here works IT. Okay.
It doesn't matter. You keep hearing the news. I mean, you watch Meta, you watch Google, you watch all these companies doing layoffs, massive layoffs. What's your train of thought?
Oh, in terms, like when you say what's my train of thought, like why is Meta laying so many people off, or what is going to happen to the industry, or what you should do as a recruiter?
So is the marketplace going downhill at this point because of all the layoffs, basically?
I think the IT marketplace has had its struggles for several years now. So I don't think it's going in the toilet because we're always going to need those type of people. But I also don't think it's the gangbusters like in some of the industries that me and some other of my colleagues work, right? So manufacturing, construction, medical, stuff like that is still very strong. Structural engineering, geotechnical engineering, stuff like that. So we're not seeing any significant slowdown. We're not seeing a recession or anything crazy right now.
Raul, if he's in cybersecurity, would you advise, and obviously things are not going well there, should he make a niche change, which is a big deal? Okay.
I don't know a lot about cybersecurity, but I think that would be one that wouldn't be hit as much.
That's what I thought, but you're wrong. Okay. He told us
Again,
already.
I guess I don't know about any, but don't, and Raul will correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't every company need cybersecurity?
Yeah, they've had teams in the past where they would work the cybersecurity aspect of it, but now they've reduced them so much that they're down to the bare bone minimums. Just like even when you think about recruiting talent acquisition has changed dramatically in the last couple of years from having excessive recruiters on the team to just having bare bone minimums. Same.
Will the bare bone minimums come back to bite them?
Yeah.
If more hacking stuff happens, if more stuff, so it's one of those things like kind of quote unquote buying your time, because
Yes.
it sounds like to me that in cybersecurity to me, and again, I'm a dumb headhunter, sounds like something that's extremely important to an organization. And when they cut it to bare bones, they're just asking themselves to get
AI,
hacked,
won't AI
right?
take care? Meta said they're
and I
gonna do a
don't
lot.
know if AI could take care of that. I don't know enough about AI to know if it could take care of it. So it would seem to me that there's some soft skills involved in cybersecurity that you're going to need. Otherwise, you're just going to keep getting hacked and keep getting hacked and keep getting hacked. We just saw that a big police department training company was hacked, and thousands and thousands of handbooks that they send out to all these police departments was just distributed. So we're seeing this again and again and again. So I would believe that cybersecurity would come to that.
You're saying the same thing 100 times. I said the same thing one or two times.
I mean, he asked my opinion. I'm saying bide your time. Maybe add an
That's not the
ancillary
question
side.
I asked you 5 minutes
ancillary
ago. I
side.
said, should
What
he
was the
consider-
question? Remind us, please.
Should he make a pivot? Last year, that was a cool
Ancillary,
word. You never hear it
ancillary pivots. So one off, right? Whatever the next over to cybersecurity, where he can still kind of pull candidates from the cybersecurity
The
world.
whole
into
IT
a
market is in the toilet. That's what he said. Tom, you should be better at strategy than you're
I
showing
don't
me to
know
be now.
anything about IT. I can't spell IT,
Okay.
let alone know anything about it.
I'm sorry. I promised Raul that you'd have something valuable for him. I have something more valuable. Okay. When I thought he said ancillary, I thought, stick with your main one, but start doing one or two searches in something that's just different. I mean,
That's what I said.
No, you said something similar. Okay. I said something different.
Ancillary. Yeah.
Yeah, you said like something adjacent. I'm saying he might have to make a much bigger change, and that's not easy.
I
Okay,
wouldn't go to food, right? So I would try to stay as close as I could, so you could talk
This
intelligently.
guy's worked in everything. By the way, you missed that. Okay, he's had tons
okay.
of he's been in business 20 years. He's used to know markets, not always
Okay.
used to. Moving on. Okay, you know what? Steve Jobs, I think, asked the question. I'm not a big Steve Jobs fan. Blah blah blah. Everyone worships him, but I like this one. He said, I think he said, "What's the last skill you taught yourself and why?" I like that question. I never heard it before. I read it last week. Sasha, do you like that? What's the last skill? If you're looking for lifelong, curious people, that's a good question. Sasha, do you agree with me on this?
Yeah, I love this question. I
love it.
Yeah.
Look, everybody loves me now. It's your turn to make it unanimous, Raul. Do you like that question, or is it?
Sure. Why not? Yes.
How could that even be a bad question? That's a great question.
I think
How
so.
could you even say it's a bad question? Because it just really, it's kind of nondescript. It's not. There's no way to perceive it negative. It's a good question.
I've never
I
heard
like
it before. I've never heard it before. Okay, so it's
Well, I
possible.
never heard it either, and I love it. It's great.
Okay. Here, okay, Tom. This is Tom on Jobin. Okay, we're going back to contact managers because I had a few quotes from him. He says their Chrome extension is hands down the absolute best. There's not another Chrome extension out there that will grab that many profiles from LinkedIn. It will also grab any LinkedIn URL that's on an HTML page. It's really amazing. I have never
Unbelievable.
heard. So what an endorsement. Okay.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
It's absolutely unbelievable. I can go to my applicant tracking system's Loxo, and I can go to Loxo source, and it'll pull up profiles. And I hit the job, and it'll grab every profile on there because there's a LinkedIn thing. I can grab all the profiles off my. I have a job in Loxo. If there's a LinkedIn link, it'll grab it. I can go to a company's website. If they have all their employees and underneath a little bio is their LinkedIn link, it'll grab them. It's literally amazing.
Okay, but you told us before that you do subscribe to. You told us a few minutes ago Jobbins too expensive. Now, and you told us a few weeks ago that Jobbins has their offerings a la carte, and that you can
Yeah,
buy.
I don't subscribe to the contact finder. I subscribe to the applicant, actually the LinkedIn automation, the applicant tracking system basic, and the ChatGPT basic. I really want it for the LinkedIn automation, but for stuff that I need to use, like to be able to source in Navigator and export a certain number of candidates via CSV, you have to have certain tiers. So the cheapest tier for what I want to do and have the LinkedIn automation the way that I want it costs me $50 a month.
Okay, and so why is the contact finder so expensive? How much?
It's $116 for 700 contact credits and $51 for 300 credits.
Okay, so it's pay as you go. Okay, been a pleasure. Going to log off. That's Raul saying goodbye. Okay, see you later. Okay, wasn't that exciting for him? Okay. Okay. Donna, she's not here today, but she said she made an offer last week, and the candidate was so happy she started crying. Okay. Anybody else had candidates cry?
Wow, no. I
Okay.
had candidates that were very excited about the opportunity, but none of them cried.
Christmas cards, bottles of wine, gifts, but never everybody crying.
Amy had someone cry, but it was not for a good reason. She didn't get the job, and she needed it. Right? I think that's what happened. It was a long time ago.
They
Okay.
had a candidate commit suicide.
Back on Jobbin, so one credit is one contact, right? When you say
Well-
300 credits, that will be like what?
One contact means anything they find on the contact. So if I click on Sasha and look her up and it gives me 4 email addresses and 3 phone numbers, that's 1 credit.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that's what makes it really good is it grabs everything that's out. And actually, in some cases, it grabs the address too of the person,
Mhm.
which I thought was
Wow.
interesting. Yeah. And that's
Wow.
why I said it was similar to like what Bin Verify does. Like Bin Verify will show, if you go to mine, it'll have my name, it'll have I don't have a lot of numbers, my cell phone, my office, my old office, and then it'll have like my current address and the 3 places I lived in Annapolis and the 4 places I lived in Florida, right? All those addresses will take you all the way back to like when I was in Orlando
Mhm.
in 1989 or something. So yeah, that's what, and I guess Jobbin grabs the most recent address, all the phone numbers it can find that are verifiably decent, and email addresses as well.
Okay. Here, so you had something to say about Quill.ai as well, or you haven't used it, right? QUIL.
Losi has and speaks highly of it.
Who?
Tim Losi.
Okay, I don't know him. He's from your show, right? Okay. Rich said he hasn't used it for some time, but when he did, it was buggy. Maybe it was, it's hard to say. Back then, it might have been.
It might have been, yeah, because everything is getting better and better on that platform. In fact, the stuff that Tim showed me was really impressive because you could set it up to listen to your call.
It's a note-taking app specifically for recruiters. Well, how can it be? What do they tweak to make it special for recruiters?
Just how it takes the notes and where it puts it in your applicant tracking system and actually populates your applicant tracking system in real time while you're talking to the candidate, and we'll recognize like wants to move to Chicago, and if you have a place for open to relocation, it'll write Chicago, and get compensation, it'll fill
David
that
and
in.
Mark talking about the same thing we are. He's saying chat notes. We're talking about Quill.ai, QUIL. Is that what you're talking about, Dave? Or you having a side conference? No? Okay.
Him and Tasha are playing footsies.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Nice.
Oh, okay. You talk to Sasha. Okay, I don't mind. Okay. But anyway, okay, so that's Quill. you know what? These guys, these sales experts on LinkedIn are always saying, build strong problem statements. So you know the problems when you're calling somebody, you know the problems they're having. And I don't know. Well, recruiters don't do that, do they? Or do they say, I know your industry and you're having trouble. Does anybody know that selling technique with problems?
Yeah, it's called making identifying your ideal company or ideal candidate,
Ideal
ICP.
customer profile.
ideal
I
company
see.
profile, creating a
Yeah.
persona, and taking that persona and creating a problem matrix for that persona. And your problem matrix is going to give you what the ideal, like I did one the other day, like for emergency room nurses, burnout and fatigue, lack of career growth opportunities, inadequate compensation and benefits, workplace safety concerns, emotional and psychological strain, inefficient workflow and resource allocation. Those are the problems, and it has the impact to the organization and the root causes. And you can use the problem, the impact, and the root cause to develop a script, a gap selling script or MPC selling script to when you're marketing or when you're recruiting.
You lost me. So what did you do? You went to Chat GPT and you said, what are the problems that the nurses have on the job that makes them
Actually,
unhappy?
I actually created an ideal customer profile persona creator, and I created a problem matrix creator. So
That sounded
you
like
have
a candidate. That didn't sound like a company that you were talking. Were you talking to a hiring manager there?
that particular one was for recruiting emergency room nurses. I have another one for the
We're talking
director
business
of
development. Come on, get real.
nursing. Okay, here we go. Problem matrix for director of nursing in emergency rooms. High nurse turnover, difficulty finding quality ER nurses, regulatory compliance challenges, budget restrictions, overcrowding, and patient surge management. And it gives impact to the organization and root causes. So then you can use this to sell to the director of nursing.
How can you use that? What do you go? Oh, hi,
Hey,
Mary.
Lisa, hi, this is Tom Alasha. You haven't ever spoken
Let me
before. I'm a
do it.
headhunter. I
You
specialize
listen to
in
me.
nursing.
No.
I realize that in this industry right now, you see a very high turnover rate, which is costing you guys a ton of money and increased recruitment and onboarding costs, which ends up being a lot of burnout to your staff. But we found by being able to do the recruitment process we do, we can find candidates quicker and get them onboarded quicker to reduce that turnover, reduce your onboarding cost, and to help stop with the burnout. I don't know if you have time to talk about today, but I have 2 candidates that we just got done in a search. Both have the qualifications you're looking for, at least if you're looking for ER nurses. And I wanted to see if you have time to discuss either looking at these 2 candidates or possibly us doing a search for you to fill these gaps that I know you must be having like all the other companies are having.
Okay, so you just assume because, oh, look who's here.
I don't know anything about nurses. I was working, trying to show someone how this works. But what the idea is, using the persona and then creating the problem matrix is going to give you kind of an understanding.
You don't know if
based
she's
upon-
got that problem.
Well-
You're blabbing. You sound like a canned speech. You don't know she's got that
Again,
problem.
I'm doing this off the cuff to you, and I don't work nursing. But what you're doing is you're able to look at, based on all the information out there, of what are the pain and problems and stuff that keeps these people up at night, to be able to sell to them better or overcome objections or get an idea of what they're going to be interested in. It's not foolproof, but if you're going to market to them, having this type of information is going to
Rich
help you.
places salespeople. If he can't give us an answer to this, I am going to be ashamed of him. Okay.
What do we got? What do we got?
And David and Mar or Sasha, they're welcome to come in. These sales coaches, Richie Rich, they're always saying, come up with good problem statements. So when you're doing business development, you point to the problems they're having. How do you know the problems? Tom said you can go to ChatGPT or some other source and ask what's common problems in the industry, but you don't know that company's problem.
But
Okay.
well, there's a bunch of things you can do. One, you can go to Claude or Chat and ask, hey, you're a VP of sales. What are the most common problems you run into at this type of company? Which is the easiest. Or you, or
Interesting.
you may be actually an experienced recruiter who knows the problems you're solving for your clients, crazy as that might be.
So how do you make a pitch with these problem statements?
How do you make a pitch? You basically say, hey, listen, I was talking, I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but I was talking to a couple other execs in the space, and, they're telling me they're seeing 300 resumes and, interviewing 20 people and they're not going anywhere. Is that what you're seeing? Or you can say, you're how much time are you wasting, interviewing the wrong person? You can say, I mean, there's a million things you can walk through.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. I could make a persona, ICP persona, and take the persona and make a problem matrix, and then you can look at all the problems that
You don't even have to make it that complex, Tom. You can you can literally just go to Claude and type in, hey, what are the problems a VP of sales at a SaaS startup faces? And then you say, create the value pitch for that. Or here's the best thing to do. You can go to Bounty, BOUNTI.ai, and you mention my name. And they will act. That's exactly what this software does, is it goes and creates your value prop and the value prop, the reasons why you should be calling, you should be reaching out to these companies and what to say. It's a really cool solution.
Okay, let me comment. Hi, Morella. We've got the family situation. Everybody, this is Sasha's sister. She's I'm sure she's just as pretty as Sasha, but she doesn't like to. She's too modest. She's too modest. Okay, I bet she spells her name in lowercase letters. Okay, you didn't hear about that. I'll come back to that.
You showed me this, Rich. This is actually kind of cool. I forgot about that. Sorry.
It is really cool. Yeah.
I want to attack Rich. He hasn't been here for a while. Okay.
I tried getting on last week. You never let me in last week. But hey, it's all right. You felt the love,
No,
Hey.
that's not true. Did you come to the right place? Because Donna made it in.
I waited and waited, It's all right.
Okay. So here's what Rich said. He comes up with this general stuff, not for anything specific to the company that he's calling, and he gives like a typical sales approach. He says, I've been speaking to a lot of other people, and they're encountering this problem. It's like the fish hook is right out there. Are you having that problem? Who's going to say, yeah, Rich, I'm having it too.
Again,
Okay,
listen,
Get out of here.
It all comes down to tone. You can say a lot of things. You can say them like you say them, and you're right. No one's going to listen to you. Or you say like Tom and I are going to say them. And
I heard you say it.
Like if I start to say, hey, Animal, hey, listen, I work with all the major VCs in the XYZ space. They use me to really build out their sales teams. This is what we're seeing on some of their other companies are seeing. Are you having this problem as well? Pretty good, right?
Not bad.
It's really like you were saying. We're experienced in our industry. We're experienced in our industry.
How is that salesy? First of all, you're a fucking salesperson.
Exactly. I don't understand how. Like we're supposed to be selling, and we get people. You sound too salesy. Well, I'm a sales rep. What the fuck am I supposed to sound like?
That's not even that salesy. I mean, salesy's like, well, listen, everyone's doing this. I can't believe you're not doing it. Listen, I've seen this problem before. I'm assuming you're going to have it. Right or wrong, it is just to assume. But listen, I know how to help you solve this problem.
Okay, what I don't think is that when you're calling up with an MPC, a most marketable candidate, most placeable candidate, and you say, hey, Mary, I've got a sales rep with 10 years experience in very successful startups. I'm wondering if you could use somebody with that background. That's quite different, okay?
That's a shitty pitch.
Yeah, that was a great pitch in the 80s.
You want benefits. Features are about you. Benefits are about the client. You got to sell benefits.
Right?
That's so 80s, Animal.
See?
No, it isn't. Hold on. Let me clarify something. Isn't
the guru
Rich
said it? It must be true.
No. If you go to the YouTube channel for this site, you'll find half a dozen shorts with Rich saying, MPC. This is the way to do it.
Yes, MPC. Yes, not that pitch you said.
Okay, so you give me an MPC pitch. You guys give me an MPC pitch. It's different than what I said. And Morella, do you know what an MPC is? You want to talk? You don't have to talk. She's muted.
No,
explain me, please. I want to hear everything.
Hey,
okay.
Sasha,
I
have a different question. Sasha, where are you guys located? Where are you?
Serbia.
Now,
Eastern Europe.
Yeah. No, I'm talking to this company today for a new VA that they hire out of Eastern Europe. So it's
Nice.
Okay, you know
Where?
what? I heard that AI is replacing VAs. VAs are going to be wiped out by artificial.
No, actually, HRs are gonna be wiped out.
exactly.
Yeah, it's much easier to use AI for some administrative things that actually virtual assistants from abroad can.
Yeah.
complete.
These guys are dodging it. They don't want to show me that NPC. Okay, they're going off on a tangent
Right,
with this.
Right. To
VA.
answer Sasha's first question, though, yeah, this is going to be like they hire Ukraine, Poland, Serbia, all those kinds of folks. So, because I'm done with the Southeast Asia kind of folks, it just gets tough.
Really? Why?
Why?
Well, because because you ever watch the scene in Animal House where the band just kind of goes at the end of the movie, the band goes down the alley, just walks into the wall, right?
No,
You've never watched Animal House?
it's not a long
Oh my
time
God,
ago.
that's a
okay?
great. Yeah,
No,
they
Yeah.
follow him right to the end. Yeah, and they run into the
It's
wall.
like no one set the turn, so we just walk into the wall. To me, that's hiring people from certain countries. That's what they do.
That's not what you said before. He was always letting the VA do all kinds of marketing work for him and sourcing. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought, geez, Rich has it great with these VAs. Now the truth. comes out.
I haven't had a great VA in a long time. Like this guy started off strong and then petered out month after month, and then finally he just did what everyone from that area does and just says yes, 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 and then they quit and they're like, "Why'd you quit?" Well, like because this. I'm like, I asked you 1,000 times. Like, what can we change? What can we fix? So it's I'm kind of done with
Maybe you asked the wrong way. You weren't culturally sensitive. Okay.
No, I'm not. It's just
well, I heard that people from Asia in general, specifically that eastern part of Asia, are very, very tough to work with. They're not going to show any signs of
Don't get us into trouble here. Okay, you can say what you want, but I might take it out. Okay.
but Indian, Pakistan,
in that case.
they just say yes, 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 and they don't have any conflict. So instead of
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
we know how to do it, or we need more help, or this is too much work, they just keep saying yes until they're overloaded and don't do anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's
But when I have a question, when you are reaching out to new clients, are you calling solely C-level?
me. I call VP and C-level
Mm-hmm. And what's your typical pitch?
when I'm calling. So you should take.
I mean,
my
obviously,
Thursday morning
C-level is not in charge of recruiting, right? So,
If I'm calling a VP of sales, it's one of two things. It's, following up on an email I sent that basically did either, hey, this is kind of, we work in the space, or it's what I just said a minute ago. It's like, hey, listen, not sure if you heard my name. I, do a tremendous amount of work with the VC firms in this area. I'm trying to think of my pitches, but it's basically like that. It's like, hey, listen, I'm not sure if you heard my name tossed around. We do a tremendous amount of work with the VC community. Built XYZ company. Thought you may be able to. I can't remember my pitch, but basically, it's along those lines. It's like, hey,
Sounds like such a 1980s pitch, Rich.
yeah, thank you. If I could get it out, it would sound at least like the 90s. But no, it's basically, instead of, you're not even leading off with your name, it's basically saying, building a commonality. Like, hey, we've got this connection. We both do a lot of work for Battery Ventures. Thought you may have heard my name tossed around. It's Rich, Rich Rosen, Cornerstone Search. You don't say anything, and then they'll say, "Nah, I never heard of you," or "Oh, I have heard of you," because they don't want to sound dumb. It's like, great. Well,
Yeah,
hey,
you're that guy that's been passed around. I have no interest in doing business with you.
yeah,
I'm gonna reach out to Palermo Rhodes.
God, never.
What happened when they
I can't
say
even spell SaaS. So.
surely you've heard of me? No. What do you say after they say
That's
that?
okay, but that's fine.
I've said that before.
Yeah, because then
You
you're
may
like,
have heard of my firm before. I
Yeah.
specialize in XYZ
Right.
industry for the last 27 years.
Yeah,
I focus primarily on sales and engineering.
If they say no, then you say, "Oh, if you did, you probably would have called me." Or, "Well, okay, listen,
No, how about this? You don't know what you're missing.
yeah, you could say that too."
No, you couldn't.
But if you say it with a goofy laugh, they may laugh too. You never know. You can say anything you
Mhm.
want. It's all about
Anything you want.
having fun.
You
can
have to
say,
have
"Really?"
fun, and you got to leave them mad or glad.
Yeah, I mean that's it. You're right, exactly right, Tom. I mean, you just say everything. Everything's all about tone. You know,
What's the worst that could happen? No one's going to come through the phone and choke you. No one's
exactly.
going to come to your door and knock on your door and pull you out.
I got a question for David M. Marr. Oh, it's from the 80s. It's from the 80s. What's changed? There's nothing new under the sun. Okay. Isn't that true, Dave? Or is there something different now that we're not aware of? Something's
It's
changed.
not rocket
AI
science,
new.
man. Not rocket
Just talk to
science.
Tommy. The AI is replacing all the VAs.
Well,
and
I will
HR
say
and
the
the sourcing.
AI or large language model AI work that ChatGPT 4 came out with is going to replace your hard score, like not soft skill sourcers, the ones like not like David MR, the ones that just gather lists for you in 6 months to a year.
Rich doesn't think so. He wants to hire a new VA. Okay.
No, but I want a VA to do. I want an executive assistant, not necessarily a VA.
Yeah, it's a different. We're talking about someone like, hey, Animal, I need you to get me every structural engineer in a 30-mile radius of 21401 that has a civil engineering degree and doesn't have bridge or transportation in it, just strictly vertical structures.
Like I use this is another plug that I'll actually do get paid for. But this is like I use pin.com. And you know, you can run through this thing is it's like a LinkedIn knockoff essentially, but it ties into everything. But it's a great way to source, and I can just click a button and it goes right into their outreach. You know, and then it goes into my database.
What's
You
it called?
PIN.com.
PIN. Yeah, I had something about it, and we didn't get to talk about it. But
Yeah.
you didn't get in last week. Were you trying recruitingshow.com or bitch?
Yeah, I was trying your old one. You haven't told me you switched. But I found you.
I linked to everybody. Okay.
I don't
I
know.
had no idea. I had to go find it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I literally-
I hyperlinked your names. Okay. Yeah. Look, everybody, you know what? They're like mice. They're making fun of those people from the movie and they walk straight into the wall. Okay. I posted it on the group. I hyperlinked everybody's name. Donna, the teacher who's got no experience like these guys, she made it here. It's a miracle, right? Rich, the king of recruiters, America's recruiter. Hey, you didn't let me in last week. Yeah,
I know.
wonder why.
It was my birthday a few days earlier. I was a little hurt, man. Come on.
I wish you a birthday. Yeah, it must be before you. No, Rich's problem today, David M. Marr, he couldn't get that. He couldn't get that pitch out, or Sasha, because he took too long a vacation. Right? How long were you gone?
Not long
He was
enough.
at a pitching fest.
Over a weekend. It was 3 days.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
What does what mean?
How long were you gone?
I was gone for 3 days. It
Oh,
wasn't really-
for 3 weeks. Okay.
Giving each other shit,
We
Sasha.
had a question. I think Tom answered this. This guy said, the staffing find guy, he said, if you can't take 6 to 8 weeks vacation and you're a recruiter,
Oh, I
you are
love
a
that
loser.
one.
You are a loser.
I
Okay.
love that one.
And Rich takes 6 to 8 weeks. So
Is
would you
that
agree?
true? Is that true when you're
No,
working
that's
on
not
your own?
That is
I mean, we take. I don't know about you. I take a lot of vacation, but I have my phone on me all the time. I
Yeah.
have my laptop with me, right? So if there's an issue, very rarely you can't get a hold of me. I mean, I haven't been out of cell signal since I went surfing in Costa Rica.
Since I
20
was
years
4
ago.
years old. Oh, God,
You know?
my parents.
Like I
gave me-
can't remember the last time I've been out of cell service. So yeah, I mean,
I
I'll
was
go
in
and
the
sit on the
middle of the
beach.
I was overseas. I was in the middle of the desert, and I wanted to see if I had cell service, and I did. And then I checked. So I'm like, I'll check my voicemail. Literally, middle of absolute nowhere. Yeah, only checked my voicemail. Learned out my guy fell off. It was so hard.
This is
Really?
this is something,
That's why I don't
this
check
is
on
something interesting.
Okay,
This is
Rich, I'm
something
going to ask you the big question that came up at the beginning before you managed to come here. Okay, your candidate, you've got a good candidate, but he spells his name in lowercase letters. And you say, why do you do that, Billy? And he says, you know what? I'm spiritual and I am not going to try to place myself over the trees and the animals and the environment. So this is how I like to express it in lowercase letters. He's got a good background. Are you going to present him
Yeah,
here?
that's
That's how I was.
Yeah, I mean, it really depended on the client. I mean,
Yeah, and the candidate.
well, if the candidate's that kooky, I have some clients that would fly with. I have others they would laugh.
I'm sorry, Rich, you said kooky.
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 Cuckoo like
You mean-
cuckoo bird.
Kookie's like
Cuckoo.
Like,
weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little strange.
But not too off the
Not-
wall weird.
yeah, not bad. Just a little.
Got a good background. He's
Yeah.
got a good background.
Yeah,
He
listen,
said,
it depends.
Ask him about the representing the company that publicly flames his employees. I want to know what he says on that one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because Tom surprised me, and I said, "Rich and you are always preaching a different story. Now you change your tune." Okay.
So,
So-
Sasha, if you look up the word kooky in the dictionary, you'll see animal.
Yeah, exactly. David and I are on the same page.
Okay.
His hat is spooky.
That's the old joke.
A little off. A little off.
Rocky
Is what it means. It's a little off.
Rodney Dangerfield, my wife's so ugly. You look in the dictionary under ugly, her pictures be.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Here. Okay, this is how the CEO of the client company has been described in the media. Rich, are you ready?
I'm ready.
This CEO is eager to cut staff who fail to meet his high expectations. He drives workers at a breakneck pace and is quick to broadcast internal company disputes on public forums like Slack. Okay? Not finished. He obsesses over operational details, often has single-minded devotion to pet projects, and he's willing to take measures, but we'll leave it at that. So, he's quirky and aggressive. Okay. Would you take a search for a company with the CEO described like that?
It would have to be in reason. Like I've got to search now that this could describe this guy. But there's a reason I took it, and I literally read this guy's a Glassdoor review about the CEO to the CRO, who wanted to he wanted me to go down on my fees and go down on warranty and everything. I'm like, and I literally start this thing off by saying the review I'm like, Shmo, this guy, the CEO, I'm like, hey, have you read the Glassdoor reviews? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, all right, well, let me read it to you again. I'm like, it's Sasha, toxic CEO. And just kind of goes downhill from there. And I'm like, in what world does this make sense to take a discounted fee and extend the warranty, for you? And he's like, no, that's a fair point, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, long story short, I said, listen, I'm not the guy for your search. I can give you some low end guys because it sounds like you're a typical company from this part of the world. And, you guys just want a deal and you want all the protection and none of the risk. And it just doesn't make sense. And he's like, oh, and he was kind of disappointed. So I was like, well, let me ask you a question. They asked him a question about, why people are failing their process. And it turned into a whole conversation. He ended up coming down to coming to reality and going forward. But I did it. And as I told him, I did it because I liked him and I like his VP below him, and I was like, everyone's going to ask about this and I'm going to tell them about it. If I'm talking to candidates, this is a small space. You're going to know your CEO. So what's the,
Okay, I'm going to speak up for Tom. He kind of said something similar. He said, A, he'd have to have a retained search for something like that. And B, he said he's willing to put it on a Pojo, which is what you kind of said, Rich, that if I come up with some people, I'll toss them your way. But
What Rich is describing is going to be a tough search because he's going to have to overcome every candidate, especially in the industry he works. Every candidate's going to say, I'm not working for that motherfucker.
yeah. So
He's going to have to explain why. And he might get a candidate that's willing to take that chance.
Yeah. Actually, I have a guy just went to the final the other day for it, and they were last Friday who they knocked out. The CEO knocked him out, of course. He was like, whatever. As I told him,
if this guy's involved directly in the hiring and he's an idiot, you're taking on something very difficult. David M. Marr is, as far as I know, he's a candidate. He's still job hunting.
no, I thought you got a job. He's working. Dave, aren't you working?
He's gone.
No,
I
I
thought-
mean, I'm
Didn't
doing
you land someplace?
First in,
No.
first out. They did some cuts.
fractional consulting right now.
Okay. But if Rich called you up for this jerk of a boss is at this company and you read that, what would you would you consider taking a job there?
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless I'll take any job. I mean, I'll take just about any job if the pay's worthwhile. But if I know I'm walking into a place and I'm going to be eating a shit sandwich every day, it's got to be
Yep.
worth my time.
Yeah.
Makes
Well, that's it. I mean, that's why, like, when I talk to candidates about this search, I once we get to the point where I tell them with the company, as I ask them, hey, what do you know about the company? And they'll say nothing, or they'll say, oh, I heard this, that, or the other thing. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. You talk about what's changed and why this is a better opportunity than it was 6 months ago. And then, if they don't know anything about it, I tell them, I'm like, listen, this is what you're going to find in your research. Here's the good, the bad, the ugly.
If Rich was recruiting for another company, he would send emails to the employees in this company with a subject line, tired of working for an asshole?
Mhm. Hey, if you know your audience, this is what you do, my friend.
now he's recruiting for them. You want to work for an
Listen,
asshole?
But
I'm your guy.
you're working for a long-term equity position with a hot technology and great sales leadership, with a sales leader that's had, multiple exits, and it was brought in by a board to cover up for the shortcomings.
You never know if your sales leader, the manager you love so much, is going to be there a month after you join the company.
Well, did the CEO fire him?
He could, obviously, anything could happen, but the board's what brought him in, and the investors. So anything is possible.
Okay. I wanted to, before the show's over, I want to talk about Tommy's got a new show. He is on I don't know what to call it, a love offensive, a media offensive. He wants to be a big star. Okay, so he's got his Friday show at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, and you go there, and it's kind of like this, only more techie and a little more detailed, and the people aren't as aggressive, I don't think. Okay, but if you want to learn about all this tech that we talk about for a minute at a time, he'll do it in depth, and he'll bring in people who from the companies who demo, and he asks them tough questions. So that's the Recruiter Roundtable, right? Recruiterroundtable.com.
Tommy,
Yeah,
and
but
where
you
do
don't have your URL there. You don't have your URL there, dummy. Okay. I'm sorry.
www.therecruiterroundtable.com.
Okay, there you go.
Tommy, are you at least getting some affiliate links for all these tech guys you're bringing on?
I've made like, I don't know, $70 or some shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same, but it's like I still feel like, you know what, you got to ask for it.
I have a
Yeah,
question
and
before we
I was
wrap
talking
this
to
up.
Ben Mena the other day, and he had a woman on his show that wrote a book, and he knows 25 people that bought her book, and not a single person clicked the affiliate link.
Yeah, that's what happens.
So,
Like honestly, with Pin, Connor's like, just have people tell me your name, and I'm like, whatever. People do, they do. They don't, they don't.
yeah, that's what Jobin told me. Just if you get somebody and they don't link, just let us know that you forward them, and we'll credit you.
Yeah, I get the same thing with Job, but I'm like, who has time to keep track of it all? So.
Okay, but David Amar is he had to coach me because I wasn't going to ask what your new show is, right? Even though I introduced the segment saying you got a new show. Thank you, David Amar, for taking care of me. Okay, coaching me.
I got your back, Animal. Even if you're a little kooky.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's your new show? I go ahead.
I ask a headhunter every Tuesday at 5:00, and I did it because I get called all the time from people wanting to, ask me questions, and it was starting to take time away from my business. And I was on Trisha's show, and I said, hey, if you need help, just call me. And I don't want to be a dick and not help people. So I figured if I did it all, like, hey, call me at 2:00, or I'm sorry, call me at 5:00 on Tuesdays. That's when you can ask anything you
You've
want.
already got a show. Why do you say call into this show, you dum-dums?
Because not everybody can come at Friday at 5:30, right? This is after hours, right? And it's just an
Friday
hour.
at 12:30, everybody. I just told you.
Yeah.
Don't let him
Yeah.
fool
So-
you.
What time is it? It's all right.
Yeah, so it's strictly, and I don't know what's going to take off or not, but that's what I'm trying to do. And we're getting, a couple people here and there. It's strictly like people want to know how to do this on the applicant tracking system, how to work Typing Mind, how to use Navigator, what's Sales QL, what's the best, contact finder. Help me do how do I search? How do I do this? How do I business develop? I get all kind of crazy questions. So.
Okay, and how do they get to that show?
It is,
He doesn't know.
you go to the Recruiter Roundtable and there's a link for it. www.therecruiterroundtable.com and go to the Ask a Headhunter playlist, and we're right there with the link and everything. And there's also a phone number.
Okay. And Rich, have you won yet? The contest is over. Are you?
It comes out in like April or May or something like that.
Oh, because he, he's in the Forbes list contest. I'm always excited about that because then I can position this show off of him, right? Hey, he's a regular. He's always going to be America's recruiter to us. Anybody else got something? Next, we'll have to leave the NPC stuff for next time. Anybody?
Yes,
else?
I have a question. Quick
Okay.
one. Do you go to networking events in your industries?
You should. I should do more of them. I haven't done them in a long time. There's just if they're not around you, it's just in the States. It's super expensive. Like all mine are in like a day usually, which ends up being like a $10,000 event, which isn't worth it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So-
I can go to my industry trade shows. I can walk and meet everybody, which is really nice. I can go to like my industry trade shows and see all my clients all have a booth.
Yeah.
Walk up, shake hand, kiss hands and shake babies. And then candidates are walking the floor. I could also have a booth there. So if you have a booth, that's where it gets really expensive. But just like I can fly into Charlotte for 3 days, attend the conference for 2 days and fly home. It might cost me $2. So that's definitely worth it. I
Hold
think.
on a second. Do you wear a loud suit so everyone notices you when you're walking up and down the aisles?
No, they just know who I am.
You just told us about half an hour ago. Not everybody knows who you are. Hey, maybe you heard of me. Okay,
That was
I've been in
Rich.
business 27 years.
That wasn't me.
So
Sasha,
you would recommend going to events,
I remember
right?
my name is spelled really weird, so everybody sees my name tag and they go, "Oh, hey, it's Tom," because I spell it with an H.
Tom. Okay, yeah. Did that answer your question, Sasha?
Does that answer your question, Tasha?
Yeah, it
The
does.
thing is,
It does.
Sasha's recruiting in a market on the other side of the world. Okay, so
I think
you're
it's
not gonna
highly valuable.
If you can
highly
get to
valuable.
events, it's worthwhile. It's just
Mhm.
it's got to be worth your time and energy. Like how much is it cost you? 20 grand?
No, $2. Just to fly in and fly out, Charlotte, $300 plane ticket, and then stay 2 nights in a hotel, and $300 for the show. I mean, that's
Yeah.
$2. But
Yeah.
if I have a booth's like $7,000.
Oh yeah. Like the shows for tech, it's like the tickets are like $1,000 for the show.
Yeah, mine aren't that expensive.
Yeah.
Mine are a couple
Yeah,
hundred bucks.
those are like industry specific, right?
But-
Yeah.
You got to just go find whatever. I mean, you can go look up whatever industry you're after, and you'll find their
Mhm.
conferences.
I tell people this too, for those who are watching or listening. There's also regional shows. This is probably not for Europe, but the United States, NRCA, National Roofer Contractors Association, a big show called the Roof Expo every year. But they have regional shows too. NERCA, Northeast Regional Contract Association in Massachusetts, South Florida Roofing Show in
Yeah.
South Florida.
Yeah,
So you don't have to stay in
They have
that.
shows all over Europe and every place else too. You just got to figure out where your
Yeah.
industry is. Like
Should
it's big
David
ones.
and Mar go to Chicago trade shows wearing a loud suit, walking around in the aisles? He's looking for a job. But
Clients.
how could you do it? But if he's looking for a job, how does
If there was a talent acquisition show or a
no? I'm
show
talking about the
that
trade show for the industries
if
he's
he,
working
if he
in.
was really good in talent acquisition and sourcing, let's say for healthcare, I'd go to a big healthcare show and hand out my resume.
How do you hand it out? Just to the booths or? Oh, okay.
What's the
Okay.
worst thing going to happen? Again, no one's going to shake you down, beat
No,
you up
it's
for
not the
handing them a
worst
piece of
that's gonna
paper.
happen. You want to get some value out of it. You're worried that you're not going to if you don't do it right. Okay. Don't play
Yeah,
games
I
with
mean,
me.
you just got to be natural. You just got to be yourself. Just introduce yourself. I mean, you can't be shy.
He's an IT guy. Okay, don't tell him to be himself. Okay, you
Somebody's
missed that.
talking to other IT guys.
You
That's
missed that
okay.
question. I'll ask you next week. You got a candidate. She's a manager for a manager's job, and she tells you she doesn't like extroverts. Okay, what would you do with her? She says she's got a team member who likes talking too much. That's not for me, she tells you. I don't see that as a problem. Everybody else says, no, that's terrible. Okay, think about it.
We should hold that question until next week.
Think about it.
Mhm.
Everybody, a recruiting show for the time being, it's recruitingshow.com. That's a very nice one. Although I might go for a suggestion Tom gave me. Okay. Later on, I will contact you people in the future. I won't just post and link to your names. I'll push it to you 3 or 4 times so you understand. But I don't like being pushy. I don't want to tell you, oh, you got to come to the show Wednesday. I don't want you to misinterpret.
You don't like
me.
being pushy. You shouldn't have been a headhunter.
I'm
Exactly.
too modest. That's right. I spell my name in lower. lowercase letters. Yeah. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you
Hey,
very
Rich.
much.
Hey, Rich. What
See
is
you
the
later.
pin? The
Yeah,
pin
Give me a
thing?
call. You want to just give
I
me a
will.
call. All right, give me a call. All right.